Hey everyone, welcome to the Studs Podcast. This is Mike. We got Keith and Louie here. Today we got a little special episode. We are doing the top 3 badges per category in 2K. Now you might be wondering, isn't this a sports podcast or a music podcast? No, we do everything. We're good at everything. We're great at everything. I'm kidding. I stink at 2K, but we're going to do this anyway, and we'd love to hear your thoughts. So you're listening to the Studs Podcast on the Anchor FM platform, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and a few others as well. Louie and Keith, how you guys doing today?
Hanging in there, Mike. Taking it day by day. Social distancing. Like everyone else is doing. Hopefully.
Absolutely, Louie.
Yeah, I've been on the my career grind, man. I'm glad we get to talk about this now. I'm actually starting to hate this game now.
I mean, that's been long overdue. It's funny how much everyone says they hate it, but it still draws them in to play. It's like still draws me in.
There's still not another competitive basketball game that competes with it. Live has been lacking for like 10, 15 years now. I think the last live I played was NBA Live 2005 with Carmelo Anthony on the cover.
Yeah.
And then the slam dunk contest.
I never even played it.
Yep. Yeah, you're definitely right. I think Madden is fun, but it's not like a My Career. It's not like Park. It would be cool if Madden could do a neighborhood type thing, and you could play of flag football 3-on-3 matches. Now that would be fun.
Yeah,
I would totally buy that. That would be cool. So if you're listening, Madden people, that would be a good idea. Add a neighborhood. But anyway, let's get into it. We're going to start off. We're going to break it off. Defense, playmaking, finishing, and shooting. Our top 3 badges for each position. Starting at defense. I'm a lockdown defender in the game. 97 rating, almost a 98. For defense, number 3 favorite badge. It used to be rim protector, but now I've kind of learned how to spam the X button, and that's pickpocket. Makes such a difference. And not only in getting steals, but forcing pickups. That's been a big one for me. So pickpocket. Number 3, Louie, what's your number 3?
So I think they had defense and rebounding kind of clamped together for my career. So mine would be rebound chaser. I think having that like Hall of Fame, that's a good badge to have because literally you kind of outboard anyone.
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely that almost made my list too, but definitely rebound chaser. Keith.
My number 3 defensive badge, for me, it's actually off-ball pass, which is a badge I think is actually pretty underrated. I play with a shooting guard, pure shooter, so my interior defense is terrible. I can't guard against the layups or anyone who drives to the basket for dunks. So I think having the off-ball pass helps me out. I've been experimenting with it, and I like it so far. It helps me stay with my guy better. So, off-ball pass, number 3.
All right, solid. Louie, your number 2.
Oh, my number 2 for defense would be clamps. So that's on ball defending, and it kind of helps you stay in front of your man. It gives you those kind of animations where, like, someone will try to get by you, but then your guy will be able to stick back right in front of him and kind of square up with him. So clamps, I think, is one of the better defensive badges. Keith, I like off-ball pass, man. That's a little it's a sleeper right there, man. I don't think I've seen too many people
it's
use
underrated.
That.
Underrated. I like it. I need it, especially for my guys. He's small, 6'5", and going up against people like slashers or people who just I don't know finish. In the inside, I can't keep up with him, so it helps me out a lot.
Slashes are so cheesy, man. Can't stand it.
That's such a cheese takeover.
Oh yeah, you're getting boomed on.
It's like nuts. I wish I chose that instead of lockdown, but my number 2 is clamps. I agree with you on that. Definitely clamps. Even if you're not spamming that X button or the steal button, clamps is still going to keep you at least in front of your opponent. Here's the thing. The problem I find is my guy doesn't have the most quickness laterally because he's a bigger build. He still can stop people, but the hardest thing with clamps is starting those fast. Unless you're a smaller guard. Again, my guy's 6'9", he's a small forward. So smaller guard, I think it's even better. A faster player. But those fast thinking guards that run around and just keep running, it still is tough. But clamps definitely my number 2. Keith, your number 2.
My number 2 is also clamps. I use clamps, like I said. It's beneficial for me because like my guy's a 6'5" shooting guard. He's very light in weight, so like I said, he's terrible at interior defense. And having clamps allows me to play people not only on the interior, but also people who try to run around at the 3-point line. Helps me stay in front of them, so very beneficial for me. Yeah. So number 2 is clamps.
Definitely. All right, moving on. Number 1, defensive badge. I think this is the best defensive badge. You don't have to do it. You literally can go stand in the paint and not even be protected defending that guy, and you're still going to make an effect on him, and that's Intimidator. Intimidator Hall of Fame is by far my favorite badge. I think it's the best defensive badge, better than any other, because you could just stand in the area of that person and it's still going to affect them whether they make their shot or not. So Intimidator is definitely my number 1. Keith, what's your number 1?
My number 1's also Intimidator. I love it. I don't have it on Hall of Fame. I have it on Goal, which is right before that level, but it's beneficial for me, especially, say if I get picked, I get some guy runs a pick and roll on me or whatever, or I just get picked in general, and I run up to the guy just as he's about to shoot it, even though I'm not in his face. That badge still goes off and helps me out a lot on defense. You probably's got a good chance at missing it too.
I agree with that, Louie.
Yeah, I'd also have to agree with you guys too. Intimidator is definitely the best defensive badge. Definitely, if you're a little behind someone shooting the ball, you can right trigger and the right stick up and kind of contest that way instead of jumping and putting yourself in harm's way of fouling or having someone pump fake you to death and then take you to the rim. So yeah, clamps chowder and Intimidator chowder. Looks like we're eating both of those.
That's right.
That was very good, Louie.
Poetic, right?
That was yeah, definitely. All right.
Yeah.
The last underrated thing about defense is not a badge, but the stick up, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Right stick when you're playing on Xbox.
Right stick up.
Great. It's
Defense
great.
is the beauty of the left trigger, right trigger, and the right stick. Those are the 3 things you need,
right.
and the X button, obviously.
Yeah, and the steal.
That's right. When I first started playing defense, I kept the right stick up. I kept the stick up too long. It wasn't dysfunctional. So I gotta. You could only use it in certain situations. You can't keep it up all the time. Anyway, moving on. Playmaking number 3. Mine is unpluckable. Unpluckable. I think for any build. Just making sure that you don't lose the ball and turn it over. Unpluckable, I think, is definitely on that list. So my 3 is unpluckable. Mr. Herb.
I have a shooting guard and I also have a point guard build that I don't use as much. And as a pure playmaker, he's got playmaking badges as well as shooting badges, but I'll get into that later. But the badge I use a lot as for my point guard is Dimer. I think it's really beneficial. That's for my guy in general. If you hit someone with the Dimer badge who's wide open, it gives them a boost in stats, so they're more likely to make their shot. So I think that Dimer is a pretty solid badge to have as a playmaker.
Yeah, I agree, Louie.
For my number 3, I have for playmaking, I have Space Creator. If you're going to be a point guard, you're going to need someone to, create some space, draw some help, draw some defenders. So Space Creator is definitely a good badge for a guard to have, or small forward, whatever.
Yeah, definitely. It's always important to create that space,
Yeah,
so,
6 feet apart.
6 feet
That's
apart.
right.
That's
At
right.
least.
That's right. Number 2, Louie.
For my number 2, wow, again, back-to-back over here.
Back to back. That's right.
I've also coincide with Space Creator. I have quick first step. I think this badge is really helpful. Blowing by people. If you blow by people, you can either finish at the rim or make a play, make the right play, kick it out to a shooter, or alley-oop.
Definitely. Yeah, quick first step's a great one. My number 2 is I have to agree with Mr. Keith is Dimer. I think I don't have a build that needs a Dimer. But I think if you're the playmaker, you're the point guard, you're anyone who's a playmaker, and that's one of your top areas. Dimer is definitely, you just make your team better, and you're going to turn over the ball less. So, Dimer, what'd you say, Keith? Is a 10% increase, or what would you say?
I'm not sure what the increase is, but if your guy is wide open and you pass him the ball with the dimer badge, it just gives him like a boost in stats, whatever that boost is. He's more likely to make the shot. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So that's my number 2. I'm going to dime it over to Keith, number 2.
My number 2 for playmaking, if you can get Hall of Fame badges, it's got to be floor general. Because floor general, similar to dimer, instead of passing the ball, if he's wide open, it only works if the guy's wide open. But floor general, on the other hand, works on all your teammates, and it gives them a boost in stats. If you have it at the Hall of Fame level, it gives them a +4 in all areas of their stats on offense. And it also allows you to, if you're the actual point guard or the guard in general, it allows you to see what people's make percentages are going to be. So say like if you're wide open in the corner, you could probably get like a 60% chance to bang that shot from the corner. But if you're contested, it'll show me that you're like 15, you got a 15% chance to make it. So I just think that it's a great badge to have, especially if you're taking the ball up the court. If you're like that person everyone plays through, you run the offense, great badge to have.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I agree with that. My number 1 is quick first step. I think as a finisher, I think it's any player. Just having that quick first step, being able to get by that defender super quick is very important. So quick first step, I think, is important for any build. Any build needs the quick first step. Mr. Louie, what's your number 1?
So for my number 1, I have dimer. I just think it's a great badge to have if you're going to be a playmaker. Increases shooting percentage of your teammates and gives them better catches on jump shots and so on and so forth. So I think a dimer is a must to have that.
Yeah, absolutely. So dimer is very important. Mr. Keith, your number 1.
My number 1 is a little bit, I don't know if you can call it a cop out, but my number 1 is actually going to be needle threader. So obviously, as a playmaker, to make plays, man, you need to pass the ball. And needle threader, what it does, it allows you to pass the ball. You can not necessarily full court passes, it doesn't work on, but half court passes. It allows you to pass effectively without getting it, like stolen or tipped or deflected by like the opposing defense. So navigate that throw to your teammate effectively without getting it stolen. So I think that's very important, especially as a playmaker. If you see someone open, you need to get that ball to them as fast and as quick and as efficient as possible. And needle threader is the badge to do it.
Yeah, definitely. Especially as a point guard, I think another underrated tool for playmaking is the icon passing. Icon passing, very important. Make sure you pass it to the right guy. If you just randomly press A, it's not always going to go to the right guy. And yeah, so those are our top 3 playmaking and defensive badges. We're going to take a quick break to tell you about Anchor. So we're going to take a quick break and our podcasting platform, and we'll be right back after this. All right, guys, we are back talking about the 3 best badges for each category in NBA 2K20. We're going to get right into it. Moving on to finishing, number 3. Mr. Keith, who do you have for number 3?
For finishing, I have consistent finisher is a great badge. It allows you to, if you mistime your layups, it allows you to, it gives you an extra boost for that. So it allows you to, gives you a better chance if you mistime your layup to actually make it. So yeah, I think it's an underrated badge, but definitely a good one to have. Consistent finisher.
Yeah, definitely. I've been experimenting with that one. I like that one a lot.
Louie?
Louie?
I don't really have a splasher, but personally for me, I think contact finisher is a big one to have. Especially going down in the paint and whether you're doing the hop step cheese or whatever jump stop cheese you're doing, getting that that dunk off in the paint against somebody is pretty solid. I think contact finisher on Hall of Fame is a pretty strong badge to have.
Absolutely. Yep. I agree.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Number 3 for me is acrobat.
Mm-hmm.
I have a tendency to hold the stick the wrong way. and it makes my guy take some crazy layups. And I think Acrobat having that badge on as high as you possibly can, or even go to Hall of Fame, I think Acrobat can definitely help you with those difficult and crazy layups, so you can hit them. So Acrobat is my number 3. Number 2, which I have fallen in love with because that's all I use, is fancy footwork. Having that on Hall of Fame, and the hop step in this game is so cheesy. It is the hop step is just unbelievable in this game. It works so well most of the time, not all the time, most of the time. And having fancy footwork, especially if you're a hop stepper, oh man, here comes the hop step.
That's right. Making James Harden proud.
If you got a hop stepper, oh my god, he stinks. And if you have a hop stepper though, now he does the Euro step.
Euro step, oh, that's true.
Does he have a good hop step? Does he have a good hop step?
I know he's got a good Euro step, but that's in the same. I think fancy footwork works on Euro step.
It's the same thing.
It works on both.
No, you're right on that. So that's my number 2, fancy footwork. I love that one. Louie, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is, I think, your number 3, Acrobat. I think Acrobat's a good badge to have, especially with doing hop steps, Euro steps, things of that nature. That kind of just tame all those things together. And in this game, like you said, a lot of offenses run a lot of 5 out with one person that can kind of do all that, and then they can kick out to shooters, or they have all 5 players that can do that and can all shoot as well. That's what can make a Pro-Am team pretty dangerous.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, you're right on that. Keith.
My number 2 badge for finishing is going to be it's going to be a little different, but I'm going to say slithery finisher. Coming from a guard's perspective, smaller person who's trying to finish in the paint. I think that badge is very good to have, because I think what it does is that, to my knowledge, when you're going up for like a layup or whatever, or a dunk in either case, it actually by somebody. It actually, I think, lowers your contest rate, your contest percentage, excuse me. So you have a better chance to finish at the rim. As a smaller player, as a guard, I think it's a very beneficial badge to have.
You see, the thing about that one is, with me, I like it. It avoids contact for you. It helps you avoid that. But the only negative about that one is I feel like you avoid too much contact, where you're getting out of the way of the guy, and then you're not getting fouled and you're missing layups. Where if you don't have that on, you have more of the ability to get to the free throw line. That's the only negative. Because I experimented with that one. And I felt like my guy drew so much more contact, and that with my number 1, which is contact finisher, I feel like it's either. I don't know. I feel like it's either or with that. I feel like if you have them both, I don't know. I don't know. I like that one though. I did like it, but I like to get to the free throw line and miss all my free throws. But I like to at least get to the line, because I feel like if you can draw contact and then you have contact finisher on Hall of Fame, I mean, you're throwing down on people. Holy God. I don't know what happened. I don't know if there's some glitch going on in the game, but my guy's been able to throw down on people. It's like, it's like LeBron. It's like throwing down on people. It's like Stephen A's man, LeBron. It's like, I saw LeBron with that contact finisher on Hall of Fame, baby. He was throwing it down hard in the paint. So that's my Stephen A impersonation. Yeah, that was more of a DMX, but anyway, DMX, I'm sorry, man. I love you. It's all love. Number 1,
my
Louie.
number 1 finishing badge, I have fancy footwork. I think taming that with Acrobat. I think those 2 badges coincide with each other, and I just think that hop step cheese, like you said, is unstoppable. You get to wherever you want to get to, and you pretty much get some animations off that you can't get with other badges. Slithery finisher, I'm not a big fan of personally. I kind of agree with you, Mike. I feel like it makes you take more difficult layups. And I wanted to throw out an honorable mention too, Giant Slayer as well. I think that badge is a good badge to have, especially if you're a smaller slasher and you get to dunk on taller bigs. And I think that definitely helps as well.
I agree. Yep, absolutely. Yeah. My number 1 finishing badge for me is contact finisher. Like you said, Mike, I think it's a great badge to have. Lets you finish. Especially the way we've been playing. We have a lot of people in the paint.
Big Rick doesn't move his butt over there.
That's right, Big Rick. My Big Rick doesn't move around our center. He doesn't move out of the way. But I think it's definitely great to finish in traffic. Awesome badge to have, and it's a very satisfying animation when you posterize somebody. I got to say it's great. So contact finisher number 1.
Keith, what was
My
your
number
three?
three was a consistent finisher.
Yeah, I like
I've
that.
been
That was a
having
good one.
connection
I like
issues,
that
so
one.
I apologize. Consistent finisher. So if you miss time your layup a little bit when you're going up to the bucket,
Yeah.
it helps you out a little bit better. It gives you a chance to make it.
Yeah, that's an underrated one. I like that one. That's a really good one, man.
No,
Good
thank
job,
you.
man. That's the hard
That's
stool of the
right. Yeah.
day. All right, last one, shooting. Um, I have no knowledge of shooting. I stink. I tried a shooting guard. I was awful at it. But I'm just going with gut here. My number 3 is hot zone hunter.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if your zone is like the top of the key, or if it's in the corner, even with corner specialists too. But I feel like hot zone hunter can definitely, if you're comfortable in certain areas, that definitely boost your make percentage. It'll skyrocket it. So hot zone hunter number 3.
I like it. Cool.
It's a good one.
Yeah, Louie.
For my
number 3.
3, I have a green machine. I definitely noticed once I put that badge on my shooting players, I noticed that I get a lot more greens instead of those full white bars that we all love to see.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, definitely with green
I
machine.
know.
Once you make one, I think, or make a couple, then you start to realize that it's a lot easier to shoot the ball.
Absolutely. Yep.
See, my problem with that one is I couldn't hit a green anyway, so I never sink and activated it.
Gotta get that timing down, Mike.
I never. But if you use the green machine, that will. So let's say you green the first one, the second, like the next couple are going to be like
No, it's just
automatic
the
That
greens.
gives you a
shot.
boosted chance.
Easier-
Yeah,
easier
it
to
gonna
gives
boost
a
it.
boosted chance. Yep. That's right.
Gotcha. Mr. Herb.
Well, I live and die by the 3, so I have a lot of experience with these shooting badges.
Yeah, you sure do.
So I mostly die by the 3, but my number 3 shooting badge is going to be Deadeye. Deadeye is a great badge to have, I think.
Solid.
Because
Marksman.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
Yep.
when you're shooting a ball, basically what it does is if someone's closing out on you, if you start wide open and they start like running at you and start to contest you mid shot, it still lets you hit your shot even though you're being contested. So I think it's a great badge to have. Definitely a must-have in my book.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Hey, since you're on a good roll, Keith, what would number 2 be?
For shooting would be range extender. I think it's a great badge to have. What it does is that it actually and my favorite spot right now is actually at the hash. Hello, did you guys hear me at all?
Yeah, it sounded like you were like R2D2.
So let me, I
don't know if you want to try again.
That one again. So yeah, number 2 for me is range extender. Great badge to have. What it does is that it just extends your 3-point range. So that way you can shoot from farther and farther back. That way you don't got to be right up on the line. People can contest you more easily. So it lets you shoot from farther back. My personal favorite spot right now to shoot from with this badge is from the hash. So great badge to have, I think. Another must have.
Yeah, that's my number 2, and for all the same reasons you said. Number 2 could definitely expand the offense, spread it out more. So definitely number 2 is a range extender for me.
Yeah, number 2, I have hot zone hunter. I think that was your number 3, Mike. That badge pops up a lot for me for my playmaking shot creator, especially when I'm getting into my zone, making my shots, especially on the wings and the top of the key in the corners. That badge pops up a lot, and I guess there's an increased boost in your actual hot zone, so those shots will go down more likely than not. So definitely hot zone hunter at number 2 for me.
Absolutely. Keith, I feel like me and you have the same number 1.
All right, I'll give my number 1 first tonight, and then I'll see what you have. So my number 1 for shooting is quick draw. Quick draw helps you out immensely. It increases the speed of your jump shot, and with this badge, it's helped me out. Like I said, it increases the speed of your jump shot, and when you don't have this badge, your jump shot is so slow. You could be wide open no matter where you are on the floor, and you start your shot, and you can get contested, and then you miss, even though you're wide open. So I have this currently in Hall of Fame, so it gives me like as possible, and I love it.
Did you say it helped you mentally?
Yeah, it helps me mentally because when I take a wide open shot,
quick
I
draw
can get it
therapy.
off. Nothing more special than nothing more difficult or like whatever harder than taking your jump shot. You're wide open and you get stuffed at the end of it.
Quick draw, Keith. Ready to quick draw it out.
That's right.
That's it.
For my
Louis, number one.
I actually don't have quick draw, but I now thinking about it, it's probably an important badge to have. But my number one would be Rage Extender. I think having Rage Extender is very important to have someone with a shooting build, especially when you can't have contenders. People that try to contenders. Bro, what's going on? People trying to close out on you.
You need some quick draw
Keith,
therapy.
you open for practice?
Yeah, I'm open for sessions, man.
But yeah, no, range extender is definitely important with the new NBA, the way it's played today, very deep behind the 3-point line. We can take Steph Curry for that, but 2K is kind of modeled after that, so I think it's important to shoot from long distance at a high clip.
Yeah. What was your number three?
My number three was Green Machine.
I forgot what your number three was.
I see that badge pop up a lot for me.
That's right. Yeah, that was a good list. Yeah, number one for me, quick draw, definitely. Have to agree with you on that. And with that being said, that's our top three badges for each attribute for shooting, finishing, playmaking, and defense. Guys, any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
For me, this was a tough list to make, especially because I have a person who can do all four of these categories very well. I have players, so really I'm only familiar with shooting and playmaking. Those are my bread and butter. So the other three actually for me, other two, defense and finishing, were hard to pick for. So that's just me.
Yeah.
Cool. I kind of went through a tunnel there for a second. I don't know. You alive?
He's not alive anymore. He's losing it. Yeah, I have to agree with you. I think I think with everyone's different, so everyone's going to be biased. There's no perfect list. There's no list that can say, oh, there's top 10 badges. You just can't do that because everyone's a different build. There's so many builds in this game. So we lost Keith. So Keith was having some connection issues. We'll try to get him in, even though we're going to be ending again shortly. But yeah, everyone has different builds, so I think there's no perfect list. I mean, there's nothing perfect, but there's no. You can't just do a top 10 list. There's so many different builds that you're going to have. So that's my takeaway. Louie, you got anything else?
I think quick draw Hall of Fame is definitely important for the shooting badge. I think it's tough, though, with some builds, because when you're doing quick draw, the timing of the shot is tough. It's not – the green window is smaller. One recommendation that I will make, and this shot has worked amazing for me, Dante Exum, Hall of Fame. That shot is so quick, but it's very easy to green. That green window is pretty solid, and it's been researched by some 2K guys as well. That's one of the highest green window shots. So definitely put that on and let me know what you think in the comment section.
Yeah, and I agree. Another one too that was, and I understand from our producers, we have Keith back.
I apologize for that connection issues.
Keith Christ.
Yeah, I keep cutting out. Every other word I say keeps getting cut out. Eric must be on the computer on the Wi-Fi doing something, So I don't know.
Geez.
It's usually not this bad,
Watching
but yeah,
movies.
Something. Yeah, he's on Netflix watching something.
Another shot too. Even though I'm not a shooter, so I'm not an expert, but I've seen a lot. LaMarcus Aldridge. A lot of people like that, especially in the blending and making your own jump shot creator. So LaMarcus Aldridge definitely another one. I think a good defensive tip too is I just feel every time I go in the paint, even though it's different in my career. Obviously, much easier, but in rec center, so many shooters, and I feel when you have a good 3-point shooting team, you can't always do this. But if any chance that you can help and just step in the paint, if you got an Intimidator Hall of Fame, I think that helps a ton. Definitely gives your defense a boost. So that is my tip. Keith, you kind of cut out. You got anything else you like to say?
We lost them.
All right. I guess you lost Keith again. Well, anyway, Keith, I guess is signing out.
Save the turtles.
We're gonna save the turtles. We'll have Keith's takeaway on the next episode. But anyway, before we go, we got some exciting new things to announce in the next couple of podcasts. Not the next one, but soon after, we're going to be doing some interviews with some local people from Rhode Island and Massachusetts, some business owners. We got a sports a worker in the sports industry. My cousin coming on. We're going to interview him. Physical therapist, some health topics. We got a couple interviewers coming on in the next couple of episodes. So we're super excited about that. You can find us on Spotify, Anchor.fm. You could also find us on Google Podcast and others as well. So with that being said, you can go to our website, anchor.fm/studs-podcast if you'd like to support us at all. We definitely greatly appreciate that. With that being said, thank you for listening to the episode. Share us on Facebook, and we'll talk soon. Have a great one, everyone.